And here we are, spending some more time in the Temporal Rift. The boss of the Temporal Rift is kind of difficult. Not really sure if I should be fighting these guys, but, you know, it's experience. And what are you, an Arcane Blade, I think? No, you're a Sawbutcher. Oh god. Not used to fighting Sawbutcher rares either. Oh, and there I go. Well, we died. Yeah? Boiled to death by Avukira the Dredge Captain. You know, like, yeah, emergency steam purge, that really hurts. It used to be a lot more powerful, like, it used to do, like, several, like, 100, like, 900 to thousands of damage. Damn Sawbutchers, man. That wasn't what I was expecting to die to, but it's fitting because they're pretty goddamn dangerous. So let's start another game, I guess. Oh god. Some of the most powerful undead do not fall easily, and only through extreme persistence can they be put to rest. So I didn't do much thinking about what I wanted to play as. This was what I was thinking of doing, as being an Anorathil. Hail from the gates of morning, the last bastion of the free people in the east, far east. Their way of life is represented by the motto. We stand betwixt the sun and the moon, where light and darkness meet. In the great twilight we seek our destiny. They can channel the power of the sun and the moons to burn and tear apart those who seek to destroy the Sunwell. Yeah, I'm not sure if I want to be them, but like, what else would I be? Sure, let's be Shalor, which is far and away the most powerful race in the game. But they work really well with any class, but really, really well with Anorathils. I need a pronounceable name. Laurie, nah. Ass Tandy. Psst. Come on, Cavdu. Okay, that's fine. And I could put it on roguelike, but no, you die really easily in this game. I don't want to have just one life. Okay. And let's customize. You can have red skin. That actually looks kind of creepy. Sure, you can be a red-headed elf. I don't think I've ever seen a red-headed elf before. Loud. Dear Lord, that is loud. Yeah, this class is kind of annoying, at least early on. But it does get to be kind of awesome. At some point. The Hymn of Moonlight. That's great. Moonlight Ray. Twilight, very important. Searing Light is not that great, though. And this is Celestial Light. You have a heal ability. This, which is really nice, you activate it and it refreshes your shield duration. So you can make your shields last longer by using that. And you get a free shield there, though it's not that powerful. And here's Providence. It heals you and removes status effects. Really, really nice. I don't know, like, what chance do I want? Probably Chant of Fortress for this guy, or Chant of Resistance maybe, I don't know. Oh, let's get Chant of Fortitude. I've only played with this class a little bit. You are a citizen of the Sunwell, and like many of your age, you've been trained in combat and magic. can be a harsh life, and though you dream at times of venturing to distant lands, you know your duty is to help defend the outpost against the vicious onslaught of the Orc prides. But now High Sun Paladin Aaron has advised you of a new threat. Nagas have been sighted in the Slajish fens on the other side of the Sunwall Mountains. Their objective is unclear, but an assault from both sides would be truly devastating at such a pivotal time. At such a time for your people. Though there are few forces to spare on the front line against the Prides, you have volunteered to investigate the threat and stop them if need be. By the power of the sun and the blessings of the moons, you step forward to find your fate. I should have used the Midnight add-on for this. It makes this less of a pain in the ass by adding, like, an easy area rather than a super difficult area to start off. Let's talk to Aaron. I cannot talk to Aaron. Let's talk to this guy. He can't do anything with that guy. That's more for when you... These are all for when you come to the Far East after being in Maj'Eyal. Okay. I actually have money. Is there anything worth buying here? Like a nice staff or something? Also, and yeah, this is why these guys are a pain in the ass. They have positive and negative energy. Most of their positive skills give them positive energy, and their negative energy skills use negative energy, and you occasionally have to turn positive into negative energy. Which means they're really a pain in the ass until you can get Twilight maxed out. Which means you'll always have, like, a good, 45% of the negative energy you need, and you'll always have enough positive energy to use Twilight to get more negative energy. They're kind of a pain in the ass until you get to that point. And it's still Easter. We're still around Easter. Is this a staff store? Yes, okay. A star staff. No, that just means it's... Oh wow, they've two short staves. Wow. That's pretty uncommon. But I have nowhere near the money for that. Do you think that I do have the money to buy? Do you have any good infusions? Cure Mental Physical. Yeah, I want that. It's got a pretty long cooldown, but Cure Mental Physical is fantastic. That is fantastic. And I should buy I'll buy this Healing Infusion of the Wizard. It's got a kind of a long cooldown, but I don't need a Phase Door rune. Okay. But yeah, like you see right now, with only 2 points in Twilight, there's not actually enough to use Twilight at the start of a fight. So you have to do that. And then it's kind of annoying. Are there any rares here that I can drown and get an item off of? No. Okay. And let's make sure my staff does darkness damage. I did not think I would die to that creature. I thought I would die to a totally different creature. Okay, any enemies around? Oh, I should totally have these chants active too. My Dark Elemental attacks so they do 4% extra damage. The only hymn that's really nice is this one. It just shoots enemies. It's really useful. It's really fun. Because that automatically shoots enemies within radius 5. And then there's this ability. Every time you get a critical, you shoot at them. It's great. So that can that counts as a spell when it crits. So it can trigger that and if you get to 100% critical, you're going to have a hard time keeping up with the usage of all of your resources, but it's so awesome if you can get to that point. Ow. Yeah, this is what I mean by... Oh, I don't know. I don't think that's actually worth having. Or at least I'll have the Chant of Fortitude going. I don't have the negative energy needed that I need to use my attacks on to spare for that. I'll beat you to death, yeah. Okay, and this is a radio conch. So this willpower does not increase your positive and negative energy? Really? Huh. Okay. Just upgrade that. Get cunning. And, I guess that's... I guess I'll put 1 point in that. I can take it out later. Ow. This area's really dangerous. Now there's tridents here. But tridents are not that great. Unless you get a prodigy for, Legacy of the Naloran, which gives you exotic weapon mastery, and is one of only 2 ways you can get exotic weapon mastery. And it's not really worth getting exotic weapon mastery unless you're getting that prodigy. Because that's like the best weapon in the game. The best, like, unique weapon is that. It's just you have to use a prodigy for it, but it's really awesome. Oh hey, coral spray. Should have bought one of those short staves, then I could have used that. Is that, no, it's infused by nature, not powered by arcane forces. Okay. I thought so. Wasn't sure, though. I always forget that the searing light has a less range than Moonlight Ray. Ow. Poison. Glad I bought this healing infusion, though. Oh god. Just shoot that there. There we go. Oh, and I'm hurting myself with my area of effect light thing there. I don't really think any of these are all that useful. It's just like getting Twilight maxed out, and that's all I did. I got like Blood Red Moon, Corona, and Hymn of Moonlight maxed out, as well as Twilight, and then just blasted lasers at everyone. It was so much fun. Maybe it wasn't the most effective way to make it a Northil, but it was fun. Ooh, I outright killed that guy. And yeah, the channel staff ability changes what the see damage bonus, or changes damage 10% darkness. Your attacks do 10% more darkness damage. Whereas you can like change it to anything else. Some of them are overlapped, like darkness is both star and vial. But you see the damage went down pretty significantly there for Moonlight Ray. Yeah, it does not change the damage that this does in melee. This does physical. You can see damage type physical there near the top. Right there. It does not change what your staff does when you smack someone with it. It just gives you bonus to that kind of damage. For whatever reason, when I first started to play this, that confused the hell out of me what precisely command staff did. Ow. Conch 2. Radio Conch 2. Go to the next area. Nothing of value. Yeah. Once you get to a certain point, you don't have to worry too much about micromanaging your energy, but it's kind of a pain early on. But once you get to like level 8 and you don't really have to worry about it anymore. Why did I do that? I'm not a melee character. At least I didn't die. Oh, that's the end of this area, actually. Can I hit all of you? Beware the glues. The glues? What? There we go. And I leveled up. Let's get that, and then we can max out Twilight at some point. Hymn of Detection. Oh yeah, and this is also one nice thing about being a Shalord. You get extra critical chance. Which, like, stacks with this, so it makes it that much easier to get 100% crit chance. And also, Shalorn gets Timeless, which is, like, the best racial ability. Reduces the time remaining on detrimental effects, cooling down talents, and the time remaining on beneficial effects. Pretty awesome. Unfortunately, like, once I hit level 8, I'll be able to put points into that, and level 12 I'll put points into that, but until then the generic points are kind of useless. Any other enemies? Okay, this is probably the last dude. Oh, no, one last one. Two last ones, wow. Ow. That shit hurts, man. Yeah. You have to go here. Destroying the portal. Lady Zosla the Tidebringer. Anaga steps through the portal. She seems to be a high-ranked one. No! You fool! The portal is breaking down. And thus my task is done, Serpent. You do not understand. It will explode. At least I didn't die in the first dungeon. The portal randomly teleported us before exploding. You fool! You have doomed us. We could be anywhere. Die. At least we didn't, land over the ocean, although I'm sure she would have approved of landing over the ocean. Let's do this. Get Grace of the Eternals, increase general, global speed by 17%. I'll whack you with my staff until my abilities cool down. There we go. Robes of Deflection, Sludge Grip, got a Rod of Recall, ooh, and Conch 3. So I got a Wizard's Copper Ring, I'll put that on. Sludge Grip, it gives me Cunning. And it gives me willpower. I guess I'll take it. Sure. That is also better than what I have. Better than what I have. Better than what I have since I don't have anything there. Okay. I don't really care if Grace of the Eternals has not cooled down, game. It's been a nice line. Kill them all. I also leveled up. There's nothing here that's really a huge threat to me right now. And I'm just about to level up again, so... let's wait till then. Oops. Whoops. There we go. Leveled up. And let's rest, and okay. Not sure if I want to have more than 3 points into that. I think I'll just put points into Blood Red Moon, increase my crit chance. Do all of these use magic? Yeah, they're all magic based. And let's get some cunning. 19% spell crit chance, that's not bad. I'm actually curious, what is the equilibrium point with, It's sadly less than enough to use Twilight, which is unfortunate. Ooh, what are you? You're a pugilist bear. Or a brawler bear, rather. I think that would describe most bears. I think bears tend to do unarmed combat. Why did you change targets? Oh god. Oh, nope. Nope, 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 nope. I hate you openly and without regret. Okay. Shoot you. You. It's more negative energy. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing with this guy. Like, at least with the Wormick, I had a character get to like level 34 or something with him. 35, something like that. That was the Breath Attack Wormick. I think the highest I've gotten with at a Northhill was like level 18. Kill that jelly. Oh, hello, Norgos. How are you? There we go. Ooh, the Tooth of the Mouth. That is great. Well, that's better than what I have. That gives me 12% extra spell damage, rather than 10. But this is great because it digs in only 10 turns. Let's go to darkness damage. That's how I like to start a morning, with an adventurer killing me. I'll show you my true power, says the worm mass. Ooh. Lots of unpleasant enemies. Still is not quite at its, like, 13.8 to 14.0 is the equilibrium point for it now. Eventually when I level up. Speaking of which... eventually... I will get to a point where it's actually even with what this is needed. I, of course, could just get another point in Twilight, but I don't want to. Not right now. Ooh, Flame Rot. Which I believe is like Sludge Grip, but with fire. Although they give you less stats. And Sludge Grip just seems to be better. Like, it gives you better stats, gives you talent mastery if you are a Ooze-mancer, and it does more damage if you make punches with it, which is great. Okay, is there anything else? Okay, there's some worms, and that's it. Actually, we haven't done the first part of Norgos's lair, because we got spawned right at the entrance to 2. Because when you destroy that, like, teleporter or whatever you'd want to call it, you get sent to a random tier 1 dungeon, and this is, again, like, one of the easier ones. So it's nice that they sent us here rather than to the one that's full of, like, enemies that confuse you or stun you or blind you. That's a pain in the ass one. That's not very good. Oh, here's all the rares. Are you a Wormic, or are you a Barbarian? Or no, not a Barbarian. No, you're actually... Since you have Dagger Mastery, I think you are a Marauder. Marauder Snake. I guess. That's better than what I have. Still kind of terrible. Better than what I have, since I don't have anything. Oh, it's a Mind Slayer Snake. That's great. A Mind Flayer Snake. Can I hit all of those? No, I cannot. Wow, lots of rares here. That it? That's it. Okay. Well, seeing as how we have some money, let's head to, like, Lost Hope. And not to Ziggur because we're magic. Although technically you can get to the only way you can get to Zigguroth is if you don't have any resources that are considered magic. So basically anything except life, equilibrium, and stamina. If you have any other bars like mana or vim, which is like life force, you cannot go to Ziggur. Which does mean if you can hold off on investing points into items, into talents that give you those resource bars, you can then go to Zigguroth, because it only checks that the first time you go to the world map. So if you can say, like, start off as an Archmage, and then immediately go to the world map without doing the optional Archmage starting area, you can then get into Zigguroth, and even... Oh, no, you cannot, because you have to be a Dwarf Archmage, or a Yeek Archmage. Because if you're a human one, if you're human or elven, you start at Angelwyn. Just like if you're a human or an elf. A Norithil, you start there as well. Like, you can see that I'm part of the Sunwall faction, right below my level there. Right there. if you don't, you're part of the Anglewood faction if you start there. So you have to be like a Yeek or a dwarf to not start there, and then you'll be part of the Yeek faction or the dwarf faction, and can then enter Ziggurat and even become anti-magic. There's a guy that beat the game on like insane difficulty as an anti-magic archmage, which basically means all of his talents were useless. But like that's pretty impressive. Ooh, I might buy that. 31 life. Are there any rares here? Does not seem like it. Well, I'll take your request, good sir. Yep. Generic talent points, although those aren't super useful for this class. Don't really need any of those. No, there don't seem to be any rares here for me to drown and get their experience and their loot. What do I need to do for this? White, orc, and giant okay, that's totally doable. Totally doable, but this is actually slightly over time for this video. So, next time, maybe we won't die. That hasn't gone well any time that I said it.